Hi guys, it's me again with a new I Am Fun Size for you. We're here in beautiful London. That sounded much more Indian than it sounded British, but perhaps it's more British Indian. I'm here in London and visiting with my dear friend Vivian, who many of you know as Super Isu on Twitter, this beautiful artist. If you haven't seen her work on Twitter, go check it out. But I wanted to do this, we were just meeting for a civilized tea or coffee. And a lot of people have been asking me in their emails for this series about how I deal with creative block. And so I thought it might be great to include this beautiful artist as well, so we could both talk about how we deal with it, because creative block is different for different people, right? And all of us have different ways of handling it. And so two people, twice as many tools, maybe it'll be better. So Vivian, do you go by Viv ever? Not
Sometimes.
Really? Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't
So,
know.
Vivian, tell me, when you are stuck,
Yes.
what are some of your ways that some practical ways that you use to get out of writer's block? I mean, out of artist block.
Well, the easiest thing for me for drawing, not writing, is that I look at other people's art. I go and find all the inspiration I can. Sometimes you don't even have to look at like the normal cartoon stuff that you like, maybe like fine art or even fashion. I like looking at my brother's like fashion illustration books, and then you can just draw inspiration from anything. And what I like to do is I take someone else's kind of crazy style and I try it out for myself. Like, you don't directly copy it or anything, but you maybe take maybe a character you own or a character you like, or maybe even their character, and you just try to draw it in their style, and then what you take from that is that you bring it to your style.
So it's a little bit like when musicians might be doing a cover song or trying to write a song in the style of a different musician. Similarly, you would do the same thing, as you might try to mimic another artist's style just to get a little inspiration.
Yeah. So because sometimes I'll be like, I draw I'm getting too into my zone and I need to get out of that. And I will look at someone else's style and be like, you know what, they do this really well. Like maybe they make line art look really good, thin, but not thick or something like that. And then I'll be like, okay, you know what, in my next drawing, I'm gonna try that.
So you challenge yourself with specific new challenges that might not be a way that you're normally working.
Yeah, basically.
That's great. That's actually very similar to something that I like to do. Well, I'll mention that in a second, but one thing that I certainly find, and maybe you're in this, when you said you get into your own place, you get stuck in your own place. One thing that I find anytime that I'm feeling any kind of creative block, whether it's as an actress or as a singer or as a writer or whatever, I liken it to having my hard drive. My internal hard drive is too full.
Yeah.
There are too many programs running. There's too much stuff in there. I remember senior year of college, my acting teacher asking me a question, and I literally just laid down on the floor and said, I have no idea what the answer to that question is. There's too much going on in my brain, and I can't think anymore. And which was the first time that I had such severe creative block that I couldn't even really act in that moment.
Yeah.
And so what I like to do is, first of all, try to download some of what's going on in my brain.
Yeah.
You know, whether that means writing and getting a bunch of stuff out on paper. And it doesn't have to be writing for a purpose. It's literally just to,
just get out,
pardon the way I'm expressing this, but just kind of vomit out all of the stuff that's going on in my brain.
Yeah.
And also, if there are to-do lists that are taking up time in my brain, they're keeping me from being creative. You need a certain amount of space, just like your computer or just like your phone or whatever. You need a certain amount of space to run the programming.
Yeah, completely agree, yeah.
And so anything that you can do to download some of the stuff that's in your brain, and I would invite anyone who's watching this to say in the comments if you have specific ways that you like to do that, to download stuff out of your brain, because I know you guys are really helpful to each other. But then, following what you were saying, Vivian, looking at things that are challenging and new and doing them in a way that is completely different to what you might do. I find that when I'm trying to create, usually I haven't filled the well with interesting stuff. I filled it with all that crap spinning around in the hard drive. So, for example, even if it's something as simple as trying to brush my teeth with the other hand, or something that just messes with your brain, right?
Your routine
I imagine that sometimes you draw with the other hand and see what happens. I'm left-handed, so if I try to write with my right hand, I look like a third grader.
Yeah.
But it just messes with your brain enough. It takes you out of that comfortable space, because I feel like the block isn't that you don't have ideas. The block is that you have too many ideas and too many things in there keeping you from creating things. And so when you give yourself guidelines, like doing it in this way of a specific artist, or covering a song by a specific artist, or just trying something that you've never tried before, that's really helpful.
Yeah, like going off on that, like you saying having space. I like to, because I'm someone who gives myself too many projects, basically. I have so many ideas in my head, like, I have to think this story, that story, and whatever, and people like demand so much from me as well, and it's hard to keep track. And then you get into this, like, box where you're like, I really want to get out, I really want to do my own thing as well. So you need that space, just to allow yourself just a bit of time for yourself, just to draw and go free and do whatever you want. And for me, that is drawing those Overwatch. That's my free time. But like everything else, I just, you need to allow yourself to like be okay to like not work too hard.
Sure. Part of that, I think, too, as artists, is that we tend to shy away from organization, and we tend to shy away from scheduling. And sometimes, particularly if you are an overworker, or if you are someone who comes up with so many ideas and so many things, I find that I have to schedule in time to fill the well, schedule in time to download whatever's going on in my brain. Physical activities, things that occupy my hands or that occupy my full body, tend to take a certain level of thought out of the process, and so it creates a little more space too. If you're not a gym rat or whatever, or I used to go rock climbing, that used to be my big thing, but if that's not accessible to you, even just, I find driving sometimes, because so much of your focus is on one thing and one thing only, and whatever you do, don't, whether driving or not, when you're doing this, put these little devices down, shut them off, put them on Do Not Disturb, and have that downtime. Working out, hiking, taking a long walk with your dog, or just taking a long walk in general.
Definitely get out.
Things that occupy. For some people it's knitting. For some people, it's just something that involves a certain degree of physical involvement. So that part of your brain is focused on that, and the other part can just kind of wander.
Yeah,
that's for me another great way to bust through a little bit of creative block. Am I missing anything else that you can think of right now?
Because I get this question a lot as well.
Yeah. I mean, also, sometimes it's trying too hard. Like, we tend to think it's the same as when you can't fall asleep. Yeah. And then you get mad that you can't fall asleep, so you can't fall asleep because you're thinking about how you're not going to be able to fall asleep, and you're going to have to get up tomorrow, and oh my God, I can't fall asleep. Oh, I can't fall asleep, but suddenly it's 6 a.m. Yeah. I feel like it's the same thing. Oh my God, I'm in creative block. I'm never going to be able to do this. How am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to do something completely unrelated?
It's when you become too much of a perfectionist as well. Like, I know a lot of writers and artist friends I have, and they're always like, I'm never going to finish this because I keep going back over. And so, you just like get it done.
Well, it's just like Jen Cohn said in a previous episode. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Yeah. That was such a good piece of advice.
It was awesome.
Oh my God, I'm seriously going to write that on my wall in giant red lettering. Although that won't really match anything, so maybe I won't write it in red. But anyway, I think that's a few ideas for all of you guys, and I'll try to come up with some more, and hopefully I can pick your brain and get a few more, and we'll share them with you guys. So that's it for this episode. We're going to finish our civilized tea and coffee. And if you guys have more questions, as always, write them to me at anjali@iamfunsize.com. And I'll see you when I'm home from London. Bye.